Hi again, everyone. It's Colleen with Artwork by Colleen. Today we're going to make a yellow jessamine. I'm going to be using a combination of Crafter's Collection from Hobby Lobby as well as Sculpey Premo. It's only going to be a few colors. It's yellow, some gold. I mixed some white with the yellow to make a really light lemony yellow. And I'm going to start with making the center gold piece, which is like kind of like the little stamen of the flower. And I put a pretty thin yellow there just to cover up and put the thin gold in the middle, just so it gives you the idea of it. And then I went and wrapped it all in some of the gold so that it would make like the central part of the flower. Here, let me say really quick, after I finished this, I realized I should have used a much lighter color gold. I think instead of taking the gold and lightening it up, what I should have just done was taken the yellow and added just a little tiny bit of gold to it. And I mean very tiny bit, because it's way too dark for what it looks like in the end. Although I felt like it looked like the picture while I was doing it. Once I finished it and reduced it, it just wasn't really that good. So I'm kind of going by the picture here. I'm sort of doing this one, I'm going to call it like a watercolor type look, because I'm not doing a lot of definition in between the two colors. I'm just sort of making the natural definition colors. Also, that being said, when I get to some of it, you'll see that I probably should have used a little bit more definition, because when I reduced it, it definitely made it look too much of one color. You couldn't see the definition between the petals and the center, but I digress. Anyway, so I'm just filling in here. It's kind of hard to tell by the picture here, but I am using the light yellow as well as some of the lemon yellow back and forth to make these petals, to give them the concept of what that picture looks like. I'm just kind of going by the picture and sort of letting it flow right there on the end. I just put a little tiny piece of gold because that's what the picture looked like. This is what I'm talking about here. This section that I did here with the darker gold, although it looks fine in the big full piece of cane before I reduced it, once it's reduced, it definitely loses its definition. And I think if I had to do it again, I probably would have put a really thin piece of yellow between the center dark gold and the petal dark gold. I think that would have helped make a definition between the two. But, I feel like half the canes that I do, I'm doing in hindsight. It should be the in hindsight collection, because I don't know, after I make the whole cane, I kind of really don't feel like making it again necessarily. And usually, unless they're absolutely horrendously awful, I usually am able to keep going with the same cane, and I use it for different projects that I make. So again, here you can see that I put the gold, but I think it would have been better just to go, I don't even know what the point. Oh, the point of making that thin piece of gold was that the two petals on the left bottom, so that there was a little definition in between those two. So here I'm making the petal again, and I'm doing a combination of the really light and then the regular yellow. Also, I'm guessing that if you have a computer, you can see the definition of the colors better. It's hard to see when you're just looking at it on your phone, like I'm currently doing, because after a month and a half, my computer is still not back up and running yet, which has caused me a lot of aggravation, but that's not your problem. Okay, so at this part, I'm making the stem, I guess you would say, part of the flower, the part that goes down to the stem. I'm not really sure what that specific part of it is called. But anyway, I'm making that part of it, and it's just a mixture of the two colors. Like I said, in doing this watercolor kind of a look, it keeps it from being stark outlines and stuff like that, and it's sort of smoother and it flows better together. I'm just putting them together back and forth, building it to what I think it looks like. So based on the picture, I think it looks pretty close to what I'm going for. And then at the very bottom, I took 2 pieces of green, the thickness of that, put them together to make that bottom green piece. And then I took a really thin layer of green and I put it up the sides a little bit, because I feel like in the picture, if you look closely, that's kind of what it looks like. I feel like I've done with the flower now. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just cover it with some translucent clay. And again, in hindsight, I would not have used this much translucent because it's so much that it takes to cover this flower, and translucent's kind of expensive and hard to come by. What I probably would have done is taken one of my scrap marbly pieces, and now in double hindsight, as I'm looking at this, I really think it would have looked pretty with a black background, just like actually the picture kind of shows there. And then I could have made a couple of different flowers with a black background and made like a little cane. But like I said, double, triple, quadruple hindsight. I didn't show the entire wrap process because it's the same old, same old. But here I'm showing you reducing it down. Just let me say that overall, I think it came out really good. It's just that if you would have made those changes that I had recommended, it would have been a lot better. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an awesome day. And in closing, don't forget to subscribe, like, and I always appreciate your comments.